Hey everybody, welcome to Strong Coffee and Strong Opinion. This is the first video of my new series. Let me give you a little background. This is going to be a vlog that details some of the bigger news stories of the week. I'll be trying to put it out weekly. For my background, I am a 20-year veteran of the Air Force, where I practiced law enforcement daily. And my main goal is to kind of break down some of the biggest news stories. I'll be getting most of my sources from ground news, largely to get a kind of unbiased, as I do generally come from a right side. So I want to be looking at both my blind spots on the left, to get a kind of curated look. So I'm not just feeding the right side. So with that, I think many of you can agree that one of the biggest stories coming out this week was the Nick Shirley daycare investigations. For those of you that aren't aware, Nick Shirley, I guess, freelance investigator, was investigating some what he determined were suspicious daycares in Minnesota, particularly in Somali communities, and checking to see if they kind of met the criteria of normal daycare operations, i.e., having children present, other type of stuff. And what he was met with was blacked out windows, locked doors, phone numbers that didn't go anywhere except to an answering machine. The few times he did meet people, they refused to answer questions, those type of things. And so he posted the videos on YouTube, and they have since gone viral. This, obviously, in our divided culture right now in the US, led to a big firestorm, with claims of these services, or lack of services, creating a huge pull of funding from the government and taxpayers in general. People on the left, led initially by Tim Walz's claims that there is no story there, that is false reporting, which has been picked up by some news anchors, and calls from the right, such as Kristi Noem, launching massive investigations into these daycare centers. And it has even extended beyond Minnesota borders into other states, starting to investigate some of their daycare centers to see if it has spread beyond those into similar stuff. Now, this obviously increased Shirley's popularity in the media, and so as such, numerous outlets reached out to him to have him come on their shows, CBS being one. They brought him on their show and started questioning him. Some people would say a little hostile towards him, perhaps because they stated they had already done their own investigative reporting into the daycare centers, and they had come up with a completely different conclusion, stating that state inspectors had already been there, and that while they had found some safety violations and cleanliness issues, there was no detection of fraud of any sort. And so basically just calling him a fraudster himself, on live air. So this led to a lot of opinions on the internet and social media as a whole. I think that's kind of where the story is at right now. There has been some response from a few of the daycare managers. One, I think the first one I saw was a it's the more prolific one, the Leering Center. They forgot to place the N in the Learning Center, um, stating that Nick Shirley hadn't come during operating hours and that he was just trying to set them up and stuff, which was a question that was pressed upon Shirley during his CBS interview. And the other manager had claimed, and I think this was today actually, on the recording on the 1st of January, that their establishment had actually been broken into through a cinder block wall, and the thieves had stolen all documents of proof that they were taking care of children and had employees and stuff like that, which is quite odd. I'm not saying it can't happen, but it's quite odd for a thief to go into an establishment searching for those things, especially given the timing. I definitely do think a lot of this deserves a huge amount of follow up. I don't understand. I guess I do understand Tim Walz's response, immediately saying, "Oh, it's false. Just don't look here," and stuff like that. Because while the Republicans and stuff are going to paint him as responsible for it, it's not his responsibility. If people are frauding stuff, they're doing it in a way that was initially undiscoverable until somebody discovers it. He should be backing up any efforts to find this, document it, and get it taken care of. Now, if this goes into any efforts to bolster deportations on the Trump administration's part, that can be fought separately. But defrauding the government is a huge issue and greatly impacts his personnel. And I think one thing they noted in the CBS report was that daycare centers are not listed as the high risk areas for fraud. But just because they are not currently listed does not mean they cannot be an area that is gaining that kind of support. Things change. I don't understand why a reporter would even think that conclusion. Lists update. So I think the investigations need to happen. I think all states should start looking into their stuff more thoroughly. I think there is a lot of complacency going on in any sort of funds that are going out. I think that was one of the biggest things that was found during the Elon Musk stuff in the government, was just people rubber stamping stuff left and right. I saw it all the time when I was in the military. People don't fact check stuff. They just, yep, good to go, and pass it on. And it isn't until somebody else finds something wrong that it comes back down. And then everybody tries to shift blame. So a little more accountability and actually checking stuff and doing your job will work much better. And I really appreciate people like Nick Shirley looking into stuff like this. And things like the one manager saying, well, we keep our doors locked so children are safe and stuff like that. I have never seen a daycare center that didn't have a public area where parents can bring in their kids or just come in themselves to register and or talk to staff to find out what they can about the daycare center. Because I know I would never take my kids to a daycare center that I didn't know anything about. So, with that, I hope you guys enjoyed my first episode. I know it's probably rough, but I hope you enjoyed it. If you did, please drop a like. And I look forward to the next one. Thanks. Bye.